Hello, Glendale. I'm Joe Dubinski.
And I'm Bett Kooris, and this is Glendale.
Yay!
How happy are you to be doing this?
Oh, really happy. It's
right.
been a long.
It's so exciting to get back on the horse, so to speak. What have you done? This is our first one, and we have several things already on our plates.
Yes.
What are you going to do first?
Well, first we're going to go up to the firehouse, and we're going to meet with the chief, Kevin Hardwick.
Right.
And he's going to take us around the renovations that have been done to the fire station.
Right. Yeah. The people places as opposed to the equipment. Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
They've redone the whole thing inside.
That's going to be great fun.
And then I'm going to talk to Wendi Van Buren about cicadas in our tree canopy.
That should be very informative. She's got a lot of material to work with.
Yes, we do, and a lot of noise.
Absolutely. And then I'm going to be meeting with Mayor Lofty, Don Lofty, and asking him some questions about the various parks, what renovations or future plans he may have or hope to have in the future.
Great. So why don't you say we walk up to the fire station and go talk to the chief?
Sounds good.
Great.
We'll see you guys later.
In a few minutes.
Hello and welcome back to This is Glendale. I'm Bett Kooris, and with me today is Joe Dubinski.
Hello, Bett.
And Chief Kevin Hardwick is our guest. Joe, I think you were visiting with the chief a couple of years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Do you want to bring the audience up to date on the fire station?
Yeah, well, about 2 years ago was when this addition opened up, and the chief was kind enough to take us on a tour and tell us a lot about the features of the new part of the building. But at the time, they still had to renovate the rest of the firehouse. And so, Chief, maybe you can bring us up to date as to what's gone on since we last visited here.
Okay, be glad to. So the old section of the building where we used to store the fire trucks has been completely revamped and remodeled into what is now one of the most important things for us is our training room. So now we have a state-of-the-art training facility, video, online. We've been doing Zoom meetings throughout the COVID experience, and it's been a wonderful addition to have here, along with having an actual training room to be able to, we have 62 firefighters here now, so to be able to get the people in, get them trained properly in an environment that is conducive to learning. Secondarily, we take our training room and create an emergency operations center for the village. So if we had another Hurricane Ike come through, this would be the command center for the entire village.
Yeah.
That's great.
We've installed radio equipment, audio, or visual equipment. It's tied into our internet system, which is tied to the village administration's computer system. So we can talk just like, they can work from here just like they're working from their office down in Village Square. Very good system to have. That's the biggest piece. Secondarily, we were able to create storage rooms now that we can put our fire gear in that's not currently being used. You would think a building that's as big as what this building is would have plenty of storage, and quite honestly, it's worse. Very few areas to store items. So
older buildings are not known for storage facilities.
This was a challenge. So even with our fire gear storage, those are things that can't be just shoved in a space and compacted in. This way they'll be able to put them in and have it more in an open environment. Works out real nice, but we're just now finishing up on the kitchen. I'm proud to say that our firefighters are doing the work to finish that. We hope to have that completed by the end of the month, so that'll be the last piece of our construction process.
Earlier you were explaining to us, you mentioned moisture, about how difficult that is to maintain and keep the firefighters safe. And what additional things are you able to do now with your firefighters so that they can be comfortable and not be exposed to the various chemicals and issues?
We've been able to create zones within the fire station. So the area out here where the fire trucks are at, we try to contain everything out here. There's a lot of moisture involved with firefighting, from the water in the hoses, water on the trucks. Simply the turnout gear, it gets wet. When you're at a fire, it gets wet. It gets wet from the inside and outside. It's perspiration getting into the gear. Stuff from the outside, whether it's hose or water from a hose or something else going on. But it's typically a wet environment. Holding that out here, what we've been able to do is provide heating and ventilation and air conditioning out here to control humidity year round. So even in Ohio in August, we can feel like we can control humidity to help this stuff get dried out faster and create less of a problem. The zoning that I'm talking about, so this would be that zone where we keep all of the contaminated stuff free and clear of the living space. The second zone, the next one that we go to is where the training area is, the chief's offices, and all of our storage are kind of in that warm zone or medium area. Yeah, you'll get some drift through going across, has to go through our firewall and fire doors to get to that far. But that's the next step down. And then lastly would be the cold zone of where the guys live, or guys and girls. So their living quarters is as distant from the contaminated area as we could do, which really is providing a safe environment.
Terrific. Shall we take a walk and see?
Yeah, can we take a
see
tour?
the first of your
Absolutely.
endeavors thus far? Thank you.
Thanks.
So this wall was the barrier wall.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is actually this is part of the old Bay area. So if you can look, this is
Oh yeah.
This is the old original brick from 1870,
Uh-huh.
and then this is the new addition that we put in to make it up to date currently. Okay, this is the single best opportunity we've had, and this is the gem of our station, really. This is our new training room and training facility. We had a nice wall hanging donated by one of our village residents. And
Oh, wow.
the 3 independent TV screens, so we could have 3 different things going on at once. The big screen up front is tied to our video system, so it runs on that computer. And then we have, that's actually a microphone in the ceiling.
Oh.
And then we put speakers in here. So you can talk just a normal conversation and broadcast that out like everybody's sitting in the same room.
Wow.
Really
Oh, wow.
a nice feature.
That's cool.
This also could be set up as our emergency operations center, like I said earlier. And we can run a full-scale incident of any type here in Glendale from this room. If we needed a broadcast, we have a camera in front. We can set it up for public information officer or for the mayor, whatever needs to happen.
Okay.
And we can do that from in here, and that's all controlled within this room. Being in here provides us security. You know, we're separate from everybody. It's protected in a room and no windows. And it's a great facility to have, especially here.
Yeah.
This is the new kitchen that we're building. Our own Glendale firefighters doing the work. Having it here, it gets us accessibility to the outside. The community can see us. It's an open door. We like to keep it available for if somebody has a question, somebody has a problem, somebody just wants to stop by and look at the fire trucks. We're here for them. So it's a key part of what the community is. We hope to have this whole kitchen completed by the end of the month. So that's kind of our goal. We've been working for a while here. One of the little features, we were able to get a donation from one of the fire truck manufacturers. That's actually the front of a fire truck.
Oh,
So
cool.
we're going to build that right into our program here. TV screens, computer monitors to be built in along with it.
Cool.
So
Very cool.
another one of the little niceties we have.
Right.
Big table coming out here that our construction manager, Shad Ellis, one of our firefighters, is coordinating all this for us. So that's kind of where we are.
Excellent. That's how things get done in Glendale.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned something about the doors.
So one of the feature of the new doors is, one of our thoughts was to be able to open this up to have our people be able to be outside when the weather's appropriate. You know, have food prep and delivery or here, a table inside for 8 people or however many, but be able to open these up and go outside. So these are an insulated glass equipment. The nice thing is they slide down and
And they swing out.
Oh, wow.
Each
What a
one swings
great
out.
design.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
So both sides are open all the way up?
so that both sides open. This will
Yeah.
be all completely open.
That's really terrific.
That's really cool. So Chief, I know that we didn't cover this the last time we were here, but I think it's important for our residents to know about this feature. Can you explain a little bit about this call box?
Yes. The call box is to get in touch with any of us. we're not here all the time. We could be out at a training, we could be at another fire or something else going on. And maybe we don't have anybody on station that particular time. This gives us a chance. So if you have a problem, you need a firefighter, you hit the red button, the red help button. You press that, first thing it does is rings the telephones inside of the building. So we can pick up inside. If our guys are in the bunk rooms on the other side of the building, it's an easy way to get them. If somebody doesn't pick up the phone inside after 3 rings, it goes automatically to the 911 center, Hamilton County Communications Center. And then they'll answer the call, and then if somebody needs help here, they can dispatch us and then alert us that way. But this is very important for us, and it's here. It's not a doorbell. It's an emergency notification or activation.
So it's not only if you want to report a fire, it's if you're in distress and around here and you need some help,
Right.
you come here and
Absolutely.
get help.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
very cool.
That's excellent. Yeah, you could feel threatened in any way and you'd be by yourself. What are you going to do?
That's
Yeah,
right.
That's great.
Press that, and we get help here quickly.
Really nice. That's great.
Yep.
Okay.
Well,
Chief, this has been amazing.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
so much for taking your time and
Absolutely.
sharing all your knowledge with us. It's been
Thank
great.
you, and thanks to the community for what we have. We're very proud of what we have, and we like to believe that the fire department here in Glendale is a key part of Glendale, and we like to say it's the heart of the community. So we're here to help and support everybody every way we can.
It absolutely is. So if you ever want to come visit the firehouse, don't be shy. They like visitors.
hi, I'm Joe Dubinski for This is Glendale. I'm here with Wendi Van Buren to talk about cicadas. Obviously, I have my protection on, and how they affect our trees. Hi, Wendi.
Hi,
So you're a certified arborist.
I am. I'm a certified arborist with ISA. It's the International Society of Arboriculture.
I don't think I could say that, so I'm glad you did that. All right, so let's talk cicadas and trees.
Yes.
So one thing I noticed when they first emerged was that they started to climb up the trees. I found shells on my tree bark. I found shells all around the base of the trees.
Yes.
When they first emerge, are they doing any harm to our tree canopy?
Nope. No, they're just climbing up the tree, finding a nice secure place to emerge because they need a little bit of time to come out of the shell, get blood flowing in their wings so they're able to fly around. So they're just using it as a post to start their life at a good spot.
All right. So nothing they're doing to the trees at that point. They're mating during this time.
Yes.
Like crazy.
And singing.
Yeah, and singing. So you said you have some information about their song?
Yeah, I learned last week from Joe Boggs, he's with OSU Extension, that there's 3 different choruses, 3 different music that they sing, so they sound different.
Wow, I bet you if you taped it and slowed it down, they would probably be saying, I like being alive now.
I'm sure that's exactly what they're saying.
Yeah. So they mate, and what happens then?
What happens then is the females take their ovipositor, which is a egg-laying appendage, and scrapes the tree twigs, the very small ones, not further on into the tree, but just the tips, and they lay creases and then lay their eggs in there. And they lay a couple dozen eggs each, female. And then the few weeks later, the eggs hatch, nymphs emerge and immediately drop to the ground and burrow into the soil to start feeding on tree roots for the next 17 years.
So during the time that they're laying their eggs, they damaged a little bit of the tree. Any long-term harm to the tree at that point?
Absolutely not. It's kind of like natural pruning. And so the tips in July and August, you're going to notice that the tips of the trees are going to be dead or died back. And trees and cicadas have evolved for years, and it does no harm to the tree at all. In fact, it's actually kind of good for the tree. You'll notice next year there will be no damage, as well as the trees will be a little bit fuller because they've been kind of tipped back.
Wow. Okay. So I noticed that, or you told me before, that a lot of the older areas in our area here that have mature trees,
Yes.
This really benefits them.
Absolutely. The cicadas, when they're in the ground, aerate the soil, which helps the tree roots get the air and water that they need to grow big and have a long life. Also, as they die and their bodies decay, those nutrients go right back to the soil and is the exact kind of nutrients that the trees need to grow well.
So when the nymphs drop to the ground, they're very small too, right? We won't even notice that they're dropping
You
from
won't
the
even
trees,
be able
right?
to see them without a microscope.
So they burrow in,
Yep.
and they stay there for 17 years,
Yep.
but not all of them make it.
Correct.
And some of them die, and
Yes.
then they provide nutrients for the tree. I want to make sure I understand that correctly.
As well as the adults, after they lay their eggs and they die,
Yeah.
they're going to land on the soil,
Right.
decompose, and add nutrients to the trees as well.
So they're not all that bad,
No.
other than landing on your face or your body and...
They
yeah,
don't bite.
I know.
They're not-
Yeah, I know.
They don't bite, they don't eat.
Ah,
Yeah, they just are here to
fly
mate
around
and mate and sing.
and sing.
In
yes.
chorus is what it's
Ah.
called.
And I understand that gets pretty loud. I know somebody has used decibel meters, and it could be up to 90 to 100 decibels when
It's
they're...
as loud as a chainsaw. It's the loudest natural noise in the world.
Wow.
Yes.
Holy moly. Okay, so they stay down there for 17 years, and they're burrowing around, right?
Yep.
So they're aerating the soil. what they're
Eating
doing.
and moving, and yeah,
So it's good for the tree.
it's wonderful for our trees.
Okay, now I know a lot of people have covered their trees.
Yes.
Is there any bad? Is it a benefit or not a benefit? What do you think?
Well, if you've tightened them too tight or they're too heavy, your branches might be disfigured when you take it off when the cicadas are gone. But otherwise,
So there's really no bad effect.
but the cicadas don't hurt your trees. You don't need to net your trees.
Okay, so this brood will die out in a couple weeks,
Couple weeks, yeah.
but then there'll be another emergence.
They'll come back in 17 years in 2038. But something that people need to know is we'll still have our normal dog day annual cicadas that we have every August.
So it's not a repeat of what we just
It's
gone
not.
through.
It's actually very different bugs.
Okay.
Oh.
There goes one. No, he didn't land.
He didn't
on
land?
that. No.
Ah,
You're
bad.
disappointed.
I am. I
Ah.
like them.
Wow. I'm glad you do. All right. Is there anything else we should know? No?
I can't think of anything.
So they're somewhat beneficial to our tree canopy here.
Yes, they're very important.
And we shouldn't be that
and our
concerned.
animals. So they're
That's-
really high in protein. It's like nature's energy bar.
So the birds and the wild
Birds,
animals.
our squirrels, dogs and cats, all the wildlife eat them. In fact, a few humans eat them as well.
Yes, I've seen that.
And
they'll pass.
and they're really high in protein. So this is the one year that there'll be no starvation for any of our wildlife. They all get to eat.
Good. Well, Wendi, thank you so much for clearing that up and assuring everybody in Glendale that cicadas are our friends.
I'd also like to say that Glendale's one of the few places that have a large emergence, as well as Marymount, and if you go out west where there's a lot of trees, it's very few older neighborhoods that have the big trees, that have the big populations.
So newly developed places, they've plowed the earth. They've kind of gotten rid of the cicadas from there.
And when that soil's disturbed, all the nymphs die. So you will no longer have a population. So if you drive around, there's places in Cincinnati that have no songs at all.
Wow. But here we have them.
Here we have them.
And we have
We're
beautiful
lucky.
trees.
Yes, we have beautiful trees.
So they go together.
Yes, they do.
Very good. Thank you, Wendi.
You're welcome.
Hello and welcome to this segment of This is Glendale. I'm Bett Kooris, and with me today, as you see, is Mayor Don Lofty. Welcome, Don.
Thank you, Beth. It's great to be here.
Great. Well, I wanted to ask you a few questions about the state of various parks. As everyone will see that we are here in the beautiful Washington Avenue Park. And why don't you start with this one? Why don't you give us an update on things that are going to happen?
Well, let me just say first that the parks have been high on my priority list for a long time when I became mayor. That's because when I first became mayor, I got a number of complaints, particularly from young mothers of young families. They would bring their kids to the parks and they just said, the playground equipment is okay, it's not going to break, but it doesn't look great. It's old, and we really, should have a better level of equipment for us. So that was a challenge to me, and I just decided, okay, how can we do this? And people have asked me, well, what's the toughest part of being mayor? And I just tell them, finding the money to get the job done. So we have several sources of funding that we've used for parks. Sometimes we're able to get grants from either the private foundations or from the government. We also rely on volunteers to add their sweat and talent to helping our parks. And then, of course, the village has its own capital fund that we will dip into when we have to. Here in Washington Park, it's a good example of the combination there. We had the playground equipment, and you can see what's there now. What was there before was some pretty old equipment. It just needed to be replaced. Some of it was just not sufficiently modern to be up to all of the safety standards that we wanted it to be up to.
Right.
So we looked around and were able to find a private foundation that would help us with a matching grant, a 50-50 matching grant. And we were able to find this equipment at a price we could afford. So in 2018, we put all this equipment in, and then you can see how we changed the rim around it. The surface used to be pea gravel, which was messy and everything. We now have mulch in there, bark mulch, which is a little easier to contain. And so we're very happy with
It looks
the
great.
result.
Yeah, I had my grandkids here about 6 years ago visiting, and we came to play. And the complaints that you rectified are well done.
Yeah. So anyway, and then for volunteers, we had a volunteer day last April, and people came out and went around and mulched around all the trees and just spruced everything up, and so it would really look good. And we're going to continue those efforts. We have another group of a volunteer that has a passion for skateboarding, and they are going to try to find the funds. And knowing these people, I'm pretty sure they're going to be successful and put in a new skateboard facility over in that area there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it'll be something, a little thing for the village to, just have something different.
Right.
So that's Washington Park.
Right. And the next park that comes to my mind is Cleveland Park.
Cleveland Park, I'm glad you asked. Their equipment there also is on the older side, and so we were able to get a complete governmental grant from the Community Development Block Grant Program, and we are able to put in all new equipment there. And that work on that should be starting in a week or so, and we hope it's going to be done by mid-July. Right. And then, again, the volunteer component. We have a young man who is in the Boy Scouts, and he is striving to get his Eagle Scout badge, and he is going to build a shelter at the park there. So that's going to involve raising some money for him. Right now I'm looking at the camera to say, you folks who are listening to this, be on the alert for a solicitation of funds. And I'm confident that he will be able to do it, and we will have then a new shelter at Cleveland Park. We're also going to replace the basketball hoops there. And I forgot to mention, we're also going to replace the basketball hoops here in Washington, which, while they work perfectly well, right. They're really solid, but they are old, and we do need to just spruce things up a little bit.
Yeah. When you got the grant, it seemed to be for a fair amount of money. Was there any leeway in maybe using some of that money for something else, or is that not how grants work?
That's pretty much not how grants work. You put in your project, say this is the project we want. They tell you how much money they're going to give. And we did put it out for bid. We had 3 bidders, And the low bid used up all the grant money. So there wasn't an opportunity to repurpose any of that, even if we could have, which frankly we couldn't.
We could not, yeah. That makes sense. I mean, the government, that they're telling you what pie they're giving you, they don't want you sharing it with someone else, right? Okay. And our next park, should we go over to Summit?
Summit,
Yeah.
Summit, yes. Summit is a very active park with its 3 baseball diamonds. And I'd like to see it get more active, to tell you the truth. Now, first of all, there is playground equipment there.
Right.
And again, like the other playground equipment, it's old. So we are going to be looking for some grant money next year. When I say probably we'll start this year, so that we can do the replacement work next year. Right. That is a goal right now. I don't have any timetable on it, or don't know exactly how we're going to do it, but there is that kind of money available. And then we have some volunteers, a longtime resident of Glendale, and he has a dream of putting really first-class tennis courts in Summit Park. We used to have tennis courts there, and they fell into disuse and disrepair. Right now they are nothing more than a parking lot.
Right.
So what we're looking for is to get 2 tennis courts in there, and then also 2 courts for the fast-growing sport of pickleball.
Right.
So we're very excited about the opportunity to work with this gentleman, Tony Brock, who runs his organization is the Brock Foundation. So he has been soliciting funds and will continue to do that.
Again, it's a community support method that it works. Sometimes it's tedious, and sometimes some people don't ever give, and the people who always give. You know?
And that's always going to be the case.
Yeah.
So we're glad to have people like Tony and Max in the community, who then are able to do these things and willing to do these things for the village, and the village benefits greatly from them.
Definitely. Well, I want to jump back to Lake, if I may, for a purely selfish reason. Our garden club takes care of the park that faces Congress.
Oh, I'm so glad you reminded me.
Yeah, I'm sure if you don't know, we celebrated our 100th anniversary, our centennial of the garden club.
The Glendale Garden Crafters.
Right.
And my wife would have been very unhappy with me if I had failed to mention that,
right.
Because of course she is also a member of the club.
Right.
But that's actually a small park called Carruthers Park at the top of Lake Field, and it's a donation from your club, which we very much appreciate, of a beautiful planter there, which will stay for many years, signaling that this is an important park in the village.
Right. And I think that a shout out to maybe all the garden clubs. It might be appropriate.
Well, I think that's right. The garden clubs throughout this community seem to have adopted little areas, and some are parks, some are just village property, and they have maintained these areas much more than the village could do with the staffing that we have. So we very much appreciate the work of the garden clubs.
Have you any other things you'd like to mention or bring up?
Well, I think that's about all I got on this.
That's great. It's been lovely talking to you, and as always, very informative.
Yeah. Well, same here, Bett. Enjoyed it, and I hope that everybody will be out enjoying the Glendale parks over the summer, especially when the cicada invasion dies down.
Dies off, right? Yes. Well, together, let's say, this
is Glendale.
We hope you've enjoyed the segments we were able to put together today. Fun, wasn't it?
It was. It was good to be back again.
Right.
So I really, really enjoyed the interview with the chief about the fire station. I had no idea the renovations they were doing inside there, and with the focus on the safety of the firemen. I thought that was really, really, really
that's
good.
super important. And I'm sure that your conversation about the cicadas with Wendi was eye-opening.
Interesting.
Interesting to say the least. And Don Lofty have provided a lot of information that I think that the villagers will look forward to knowing about the different parks.
So can't wait to do it again. We'll do it again next month?
Next month, for
Okay.
sure. We'll see you then.
We'll see you then. I'm Joe Dubinski.
Bett Kooris, and
this is Glendale.
Glendale.